Hello, my name is Cynthia and welcome to my Flosstube channel. I'm happy to be here with you today to share my needlework, some crafts I've made, and some plans ahead. It is Wednesday, January 18th, 2023, and I'm, like I said, glad to be here. I'm fitting some time in between kid pickup, so I'll have to go quickly. And I did want to say, though, thank you for your support and encouragement over my last couple videos. It's been a little bit of a rough start getting back into the Flosstube habit, but I am enjoying what I'm doing and enjoying interacting with you. So I did have a few questions from my last video that I wanted to, or last two videos that I wanted to address really quickly in case there were a few of you that had the same. I had shared a gift from my daughter Sophia in the video that shows my finishes. If you want to see the full tree, you can kind of see it in the mirror behind me here. There's a cherry blossom tree that I got. It's an LED lights, the flowers light up, and I got that from, or she got that from Walmart, and it does say cherry blossom tree on the box. I don't know if that was a holiday thing or if it's just available all the time, but if anybody else was interested in seeing that, you can view the whole tree in my finish parade. Then also I had a question about a craft that I didn't talk about, but it's also shown on my plans video to make some wool cats out of just scraps. And I can't remember who it was that asked that, but I don't have a pattern for that. And I did answer them there, but just in case y'all saw that as well. I had a few things here that I wanted to share. One of them's part of a craft, but I'll share this part. This is kind of just an example of, if you see something on Pinterest or just, in a magazine or something, and you think that's really cute, you don't always have to have a pattern for things. I like to have displays with my cross stitch that have, dolls, like I'm going to show you, or little primitive figurines, different greenery. I have some books I wanted to show you, things that can kind of be interspersed with your cross stitch and make it interesting, especially like a hutch or something. And these kind of things with Valentine's Day coming up, I wanted to show you. I gave away several of these. I think I have more of them. I think I made 5, but I must have given away more. But it's just a shape I traced with a pencil, and then, or you know how to fold fabric and cut out a heart, and then stitched it. And I can't remember where I turned this one. I think I turned it. Oh, I didn't turn it at all. I just slid it in the back so that it doesn't have any, stitching up the sides. Real simple. Now it does get a little bit bunchy here. It's not perfect, but that's why it's primitive. So the same thing with the cats that the lady asked about, or the viewer asked about. You can just trace out a cat head shape, turn it, stitch it, put on buttons for eyes and whiskers. It doesn't have to always have a pattern. So I hope to be sharing that with y'all sooner rather than later, hopefully this winter. But I just wanted to give this kind of as an example of, some things you can see and think, hey, I could do that. And this is just some old drop cloth, I believe, fabric that I use for crafts a lot, and then quilting fabric. And I have another one I'll show you that was made with a scrap of Ada. So it doesn't have to be expensive or, planned out with a pattern to be creative. In fact, a lot of times it's more fun to just do it yourself. So that is where that wool cat idea came from, just something I saw on Pinterest. And then I had another question that I'm asking for y'all. A lady asked, I thought it was interesting, what's a good variegated white thread that shows up on white? I never stitch on white, hardly ever, because I'm always afraid I'll get it dirty. I had a memorabilia that had to be on white because it was a playing card, but usually I don't like white. So if you have an answer to that question, I had a couple from Frankie from A Wicked Stepmother that I like, one called Love Letter and one called Nutcracker, that are super flecky, especially Nutcracker. It's almost like brown and white flecks. So I'm not sure if that quite answers the question, but if you can think of a variegated white that will show up on white, please leave that in a comment down below and help the other viewer out. And the last question I had, I can use to sort of segue, well, actually, not yet. I'm going to share some progress on my Adam and Eve projects that I'm working on this year. I had a question, what are Adam and Eves? And I think the reason the viewer asked that was because maybe I used that as a term that everybody would know and assumed that an Adam and Eve Bible story is part of everybody's life like it was mine, but I shouldn't have done that, I guess. But an Adam and Eve sampler, when I say a year of Adam and Eves, what I mean is a sampler that has that motif. I think, sorry, my son's right here, Elijah. I think Adam and Eve sampler motifs were common, especially in, times past for young girls, just as a reminder of, and at least for me, the reason I value the Adam and Eve is you can think of an Adam and Eve as sort of a paradise lost. They had everything, the garden was perfect, communion with God, but because we have free will, we also have the choice to wander and to stray. Some of the motifs that I'm stitching, or some of the projects that I'm stitching this year, say things like, permit me not to stray, help me to bind my wandering heart to thee is a song I really like. My focus tends to go to myself and to things that it shouldn't, and help me to stay focused on God. And so that's what an Adam and Eve sampler represents for me. It could be other things for different people, but I think for children back in the day when they were learning how to do needlework, it was a cautionary tale. Adam and Eve had it all, but they chose poorly and they chose selfishly, and we have to be careful not to do the same. So that's what an Adam and Eve sampler means to me. When I say an Adam and Eve, that's what I mean, and I apologize if I assumed some kind of knowledge of that, especially maybe for people that didn't grow up in the Bible Belt like I did. Okay, so let me show you some finishes that I did over the last couple of weeks. I talked about my stitch along that I'd love for y'all to support with Melissa from Pinker and Pumpkin Quilting. This piece I have had for a long time. It's just a little house from, it looks like Hobby Lobby. I'm pretty sure it says Spring Shop, but I think it was like 2019 or 2020. So I don't know if there's something similar, but you can always find little, metal pieces like this. And I sort of struggled because I didn't know how to fill it. Like I could put something in here, but what I ended up doing is putting a piece of foam core that has burlap on it, and then the actual switching out. And I think this glue got on there too tart. Oh, it's on there. I can pull it off next time. It's magneted on here so I can put, with this color scheme, I think it'll fit any season. That was my thought. I'm going to do the Valentine one and then the Shamrock one. I think they'll all look cute. It just has a white button at the top with some tan lace. So a little primitive, but I thought the white pom-pom trim sort of looked like snowballs. I didn't use Melissa's color chart. She does include that in her free chart. And the way you access those is through Instagram. They link to her blog. And if you don't have Instagram, I'll try to remember to link her blog below. You can just go straight there and search freebies. She's posting them weekly at least, sometimes even more. But I thought it was just a cute little design with those chickens and the sleds. And I think that little farm wife is called Annie. I picked out several for her. It's 50 by 50, super quick. So there's just a little fun Sal, the Melissa Monday Sal, and that's the hashtag here. The other one I had shown you last time as already finished. Oops, sorry, but I didn't have it fully finished. So here is Winter Whirligig. It's a little crooked. This is the last one in the series for me. I've done them all now, and they're so quick. I really like this fabric though. It's called Cobblestone, I think. It's a gray brown. And so the snow really shows up nicely. It can be a real challenge. I know I did this piece back here that's Winter ABCs, and I don't like the way the snow shows up on it. So I'm always careful now to try to make sure that your stitches count. So I used my own colors. I didn't use any of the ones called for, but I just kind of looked at the chart. And I like to do sage. I think this was supposed to be pink, but I don't do a lot of pink. And this was for, my fall one and my summer one. I have another bow that's mint green for the spring, but I have all 4 on this little tin from Hobby Lobby. I think it says, again, I'm having trouble with my glue. I think, yeah, there it is, Cotton Stem Co. I've seen that at Hobby Lobby recently. But any metal thing, and then I just did this circle finish on a coaster, like I did all 4. So there's Winter Whirligig. Oh, and Melissa's piece is just done on a scrap 28 count even weave. I think a viewer gave that to me. I don't know what it's called, but it was nice also for the white. The white showed up really well. And then the final finish I wanted to show, well, I made a bag, and I'll kind of show you that as well, but my final finish, oh, and I don't have the pattern in here to show you what it's supposed to look like. I made a primitive doll, and as it always is with primitive dolls, sometimes they're adorable, sometimes they're weird. And I'm afraid this little sweetie ended up being a little more on the weird side, but I do like her outfit. I ended up sewing her hands together. I just put her together this morning, and this is just some, maybe learn from my mistakes. I stuffed her, I thought, really tightly with her face, but you're sewing 4 wedges together to make this face, and you can see these wrinkles. I didn't quite get it full enough. Maybe if I had even used sawdust, I'm not sure, but that would have made it heavy. I just didn't get enough filler. I think that's why she almost looks like she needs like Botox or something. She's super wrinkly and her features are a little bit distorted. They also use like a dried gourd in the pattern. I'll try to put a picture here of what she was looking like on the pattern. They used a dried gourd for her nose, which I didn't like. I didn't know if that meant she was supposed to be a snowman, but she's flesh toned. So I didn't get that nose choice. I did a sculpted nose where you just do a couple stitches here, go under and then down. And I like the nose okay, but the eyes are charted or patterned very far apart. She looks almost a little bug-like. And I just don't know what it is that I did wrong. Maybe they're too high. I still think she's cute though, and I like her little sweater. This was a sweater of my daughter's that was too small, and so I cut it up, and this was the sleeve. I had a garland of felt balls upstairs that I cut that off of because I couldn't find any at the stores. Maybe I'd have found some at Etsy, but like I said, it's not my favorite, but it's cute. And I think what I'll do, or what I'd like to do, is have kind of a collection of these, like in different colors and different, so she's kind of my prototype, I guess. The fabric that is called for in the pattern is Osnaburg, and then it's coffee stained. I used muslin because I don't have Osnaburg. You can get that, I think, at Joann's and at Hobby Lobby. Usually they don't know where it is. When I've asked for it, they'll be like, I've never heard of that. But it's kind of like drop cloth, like a canvasy thicker. And maybe that would have held it better too. But the muslin, like I said, I just didn't stuff it hard enough. She is cute though. I used one of the hearts that I showed you earlier. This is the second one made out of Ada. This is just a hand-dyed scrap. I mean, tiny scraps. I hate to throw anything away, as you know, if you've watched me. And so this one fit in her hands, and it makes her almost like a Valentine winter. She had evergreen in the pattern, but I didn't want her to look as Christmassy. I wanted her to look more winter. So, and I love red and black. So she goes really well with my red and black snowman choices, and she needs some friends though. I think it'd be cute to have several. This is just some overdyed fabric from my husband's shirt that I showed you before. And then this, what do you call this? Homespun. So it's the same on both sides from Hobby Lobby. And there she is. So she's fun to sit. I have a picture I can kind of insert where I have her in a little display, and she does look cute as part of a display, but on her own, she's sort of interesting. So those were my finishes, the 2 little tiny whirligigs, and then my doll that I'm working on. I also have several whips that I want to show you. So let me get those out. Oh, before I do that, let me show you my Adam and Eve project bag that I had made. I had found this fabric on Etsy. I think it's called Spoonflower, the Etsy store. And I thought that looks like the Garden of Eden. I couldn't find anything that was Adam and Eve per se, but I thought this garden is perfect. And so I ordered a fat cord. I think it was like $5 or something, or maybe $6. And so it wasn't expensive at all. And then I had this quilt piece from my mother-in-law. It has holes all through it, and it was just a square. It's not a quilt. It's just maybe a 24-inch square of a quilt with holes in it, and it stains. And so I thought, I'm going to cut it up and make it into this bag. And so it's real scrappy. I did it upside down too, which I've done these bags before, and I was just kicking myself when I flipped it and went to sew. I was like, oh, for the love. So it's correct on this side. It's upside down over here. And there's that good, I thought, like a tree of life too. So I'm a little disappointed, but it's okay. It's just for me. I'm not selling it or anything. And then I found this old pin in the same kind of collection of my mother-in-law's things. And I don't know what it says. It says WIBG 1970. I have no idea what that is, but it looked kind of like a branch, and I just wrapped the sari silk around it. I was not in the mood to stitch Velcro on this or magnet closures because I had kind of been kicking myself, but it's a nice size and it fits my Adam and Eve's. So there's that. Let me get the rest of my Adam and Eve's together and remind Elijah that he needs to be quiet. And okay. I have 4 projects that I wanted to share with you, and I didn't get as much done on them as I'd like, but I'll show you in order from least work to most. I had pulled out Michaela Barber for my Adam and Eve focus for probably a couple months, and she's huge, like 300 by 270 or something, so super intimidating. But I did get another motif almost done. Here is this big urn. I realized as I pulled it out that some of my stitches in this urn were over 3, and so if I didn't want to do half stitches in there, I just pulled that out. So I've got to fix it, but you can see how beautiful this pattern is. And I did appreciate some feedback about the satin stitch at the bottom where the Adam and Eve is. I am not going to put that in, as I suspected. It is sort of a risk if you put the satin stitch in and get it loose. And so I'm going to actually grid over to that tree and Adam and Eve and hope to work on that over the next couple weeks. So hopefully I'll show some more progress. I also want to put this border up higher. It's not a regular border by any means. It's very higgledy-piggledy. I like that word. And so I want to go up higher on that just so that I can get kind of an idea of how big this sampler is going to be. And I think over the couple months, I just want to do like a left corner. And if that's all I get on it over January and February, I would be thrilled. At least I'm pointing out, I've also found some friends on Instagram, at least 1, maybe 2, that are using a hashtag with me called ANE 2023 so that we can see some of the Adam and Eve. So if you're working on an Adam and Eve, I forgot to announce that last time. I think I may have even come up with it after the video, but if you are working on an Adam and Eve sampler and you want to share on Instagram, it's a fun way to just put a hashtag and everybody can see your progress. And my friend did send me the other work that she had done on Michaela Barber, so thank you for that. I'm working on still my Joyful Whirl Sal. I should be able to get, and I didn't start that stitch along. It I guess came out as a stitch along from this artist in, I think she's from the Ukraine or from Eastern Europe, and it's called the Snowflower Diaries. Maya Matias, I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but her website is the snowflowerdiaries.blogspot, and all 12 of these patterns are here. Now this fabric is crazy. As I fill in more of the flowers and snowflakes, I hope it looks better, but I did get more of the peacock done. I'm using this silky thread that's very variegated, and then I got the border down, around, and up. So I really think I can get this finished in January. Of course, it won't be ready to display, but this will be done, and I hope to show you how I'm going to finish that. I worked on that while I was doing laundry because our washing machine was flooding our hallway, and we had to get a new part for a huge amount, and so I got stuck at our church where we have a washer and dryer for about 3 hours working on that. So here is probably the most progress I've gotten done. This is Plum Street Samplers Fruit of the Spirit. It's a very old pattern. And it's funny, Paulette's charted this in NPI silk, and I used DMC. Several of these I think I might have changed. And now I can't remember because it's been 3 years, but I know I have a Victorian motto in here that has a lot of variegation. And it's funny when I'm working on this, and see if you think the same. It's reminding me of that Scarlet House piece that everybody had worked on about the colors anyway, about Oh, there's been a couple of them come out that had kind of those pinks and blacks. And so I'm really liking the colors more than I thought I would. The bottom is that Victorian motto. I wish I had used more variegated threads, more overdyes than I initially, planned, because like I said, I started this in 2019. I think this is like the second or third piece of fabric I did it on too, because I tried it on gray at first and the piece of fabric was too small. So I finished that house. It has some paned windows, and I changed the animals. I wasn't intending to. The pattern has two little white dogs on the front there. You can see them at the bottom. And I thought, well, I'm going to make that look like my dog. Not as big as my dog. I should have made the legs longer, but I went ahead and put some black on it like Dahlia. And then I added two cats, one small and one big, for my tuxedo and my tortoiseshell cat. So when the green's around them, hopefully you can see them a little better, but I just kind of free-handed them with the same amount of space, and I changed the head. So I hope those look like cats. I think they do. And then I have to do the rest of this tree, and here is the end of page 1. So I hope to get quite a bit more done on this. There's like 8 of these white flowers, more berries, but I'm liking it even more than I expected, which is funny because, some projects just take a while to get into, I guess. When I first started, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this, but Paula is so quirky and creative. There's over 1 birds I need to do that I was going to get started on, but I ended up doing more of the fill-in. So there is Fruit of the Spirit, and it's on Monaco. Again, not my favorite, but if I use my ballpoint needle, it's not so bad. It makes my hands more tired though. I can definitely tell the difference. I'm having to work a lot harder to push the needle through. So there's that one. And then this is a joint project with my youngest daughter, Anna, who's 9, and we are working on a cat of the month. And I got this pattern from Hudson Holidays on Etsy. I think her name is Shirley. And there are 12, of course. And so here's January's cats, and they're so funny, their little faces. I'm going to help Anna with the eyes, but she has done all of this outlining herself on the scarf and the snowman and the carrot. I did the moons and stars because I needed to have more fabric to fit it in a hoop. I can stitch this in hand, and Anna needs a hoop, but it's going to be really cute. And I'll show you how I'm going to finish it. I was so happy to find this piece at Goodwill. It says Apropos Home Collection. It says $25. I don't know where it comes from. Fiddle and Fern Trading, but isn't this the cutest thing? I spotted it at Goodwill. I paid $4.49 for it. I was like, yes, please. I didn't even know what I needed it for, but I picked it up because it's, the perfect size. And so here is the embroidery piece, and what I want to do is put a little bit of quilt fabric around it and make it like a little quilt. And I even have some sew-in magnets. I'm pretty sure, I'll double check that this is magnetic, but what I want to do is just have it kind of thin with like some thin interfacing and just put each one on there. So how cute is that? Can't wait to see that finished. I hope to have that done soon. Anna's working on it with me over the weekends mostly. A lot of times she has homework and stuff during the week. She's at a spelling bee competition thing today, so she doesn't have a lot of time after school. But that was some haul that I had, basically just that. And I did get one other pattern that I might start if I have the time. Here it is. Priscilla and Chelsea had a sale over, was it January 1st? I think it was January 1st, and I picked up Ice Ice Baby. That song always cracks me up. My husband and I quote it to each other quite a bit. Stop, collaborate, and listen. We'll sing it to each other, but it's cute too, the ice skater. And so I did pick that one up at the sale, and I hope to have the other side of that cobblestone gray fabric for the mug. What do they call those? Sip of the season or something. They have a name for them, but snowed in. Anyway, it's cute. And then the chalkboard, and I have some books I wanted to show you that are more, I don't have a lot of reading talk to share this time other than one of these books I would recommend. I found this series on Kindle, not Kindle, on Amazon called Every Man's Library Pocket Poets. Every Man's Library Pocket Poets. And I remembered loving Emily Dickinson, when I was like in high school. And I thought I'd like to have some poetry that I think about and look at each day. And so I wanted to start this little collection. I got it used on Amazon for, I think it was $1.95. So it's just a sweet little poem, book of poems. And they have, of course, all the main names like Frost and Tennyson. And so I thought it'd be fun to have just a collection of these. And while I was looking at that book, and I do like to read it too, it's beautiful poetry, but I have these other books, and I love old books to display with cross stitch and with decor, and I pulled these out because they're family pieces. They're in German, and I just think they look so nice. I always like to talk about, how do you display your cross stitch? How do you put your displays together so that you can enjoy them and they add to your home instead of putting them in a box under your bed? And I love adding old books and little fabric pieces that you've sewn together, family photos. I see a lot of home tours and nobody has out family photos. And I love to see my littles, when they were growing up. I have them up the stairs here too. So just remember that when you're putting together a cross stitch to, you can do it like it's a seasonal theme or just all year round. Don't forget to add in family mementos, things that were personal to you, and I think that helps to enhance our hobby. So that's really all I had to share today. If you have any questions, oh, I forgot, I have a giveaway. I'm going to insert a photo here. My friend Frankie of Wicked Stepmother has a new little pattern out of a row of houses, and she would like to offer 2 viewers a chance to have that pattern. So if you are interested in stitching Frankie's little house pattern and would like that for free as a gift from her and also from me as a thank you for watching, then just put the word house in your comment and I will do a random generator for the comments and pick some winners for that. Thank you again to Frankie for your support of my channel. And as I say at the end of all of my videos, may the favor of the Lord our God be upon us and establish the work of our hands. That's in the book of Psalm, chapter 90, verse 17. And I hope you have a great rest of January. Thanks for watching.